All right, guys, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how to have more emotional connection in your marriage, even if you're the only one who wants it. So I just sent out a survey to a lot of my people on my email list and in my Facebook group asking what their marriage problems are. So a big one that comes back a lot is poor communication, wanting to improve that communication. Another one is little to no connection, feeling like there's just not that emotional connection or physical connection, right? There's just not that intimacy that they're looking for. Another one might be that your spouse, I work mainly with men, that your wife isn't talking much, right? She doesn't really want to engage with you. She doesn't want to really talk, okay? And just an overall low emotional intimacy, right? You don't really know what's going on with her. She doesn't really know what's going on with you. You're just kind of stuck. So in this, if I look closely, what I find is a lot of blaming of your wife, right? My wife doesn't want to talk much. She doesn't want to engage, right? She's not connecting with me. She doesn't want to listen. Okay, I used to be stuck in this mindset for a long time. So I want to give you this quote by Stephen Covey, one of my definite heroes, mentors through his books, right? He says, anytime you think the problem is out there, that very thought is the problem. I'm going to repeat that. Anytime you think the problem is out there, that very thought is the problem. So what's he saying there? What he's saying is don't get caught in the victim mindset, okay? As long as you're saying, I can't connect with my wife because she just won't do it. She doesn't want to talk. She doesn't want to be with me. Okay, there's nothing you can do, right? If she's the problem, what are you going to do about it? Okay, nothing. There's nothing you can do. But the truth is this. There are things that you absolutely can do to improve your emotional connection. Even if she doesn't seem like she wants to work on it, you can do it. Don't pin it all on your spouse. Okay, we're going to cover what you can do and how to do it very specifically here in this episode. A lot of times what I hear from guys is, I just don't know where to start. I want to have more emotional connection, but I don't know the first thing to do. So I want to introduce you to this model called the State Fair model. Okay? It's going to be a great way to improve communication in your marriage. It's a great way to look at your own results in your life, to get the results you want in your life, to look at your thoughts. It's just a great thing to do. You may have heard about it on other episodes, but we're going to cover it again. So S in there, it's for situation. So this is just a factual situation of what's going on without any interpretation attached to it. Okay. T is for thought. F is for feeling. A is for action, what you do. I is for intention, why you do what you do. And R is for result, what happened as a result. Okay? So I'm going to use an example that does not have to do with marriage just to make it clear. So a situation might be, I weigh 160 pounds. That's a situation because it's just a fact, right? I get on the scale, that's what the scale says. So then the thought that I might have, okay, so this is where it's wild, right? People have all kinds of different thoughts about weight. So maybe the thought is, I'm too fat. At that weight, I'm too fat. So what feeling does that bring with it? Brings with it sadness, probably, right? So what action do you take when you're feeling sad? So again, this depends on your level of emotional maturity and understanding of all this. But a lot of times what people do is go eat a cookie, right? To go eat something, some kind of junk food. And what's the intention? Why are they doing that? To feel better. Okay, they want to feel better because they're feeling sad. They're doing this to feel a little bit better. So what's the result? They feel better for a second, but then they end up feeling worse. Okay, so one of the ladies I listen to, Brooke Castillo, talks about, when we avoid a feeling, a lot of times we end up feeling that feeling anyway. So in this case, we were trying to avoid feeling sad by eating the cookie, but then we ended up feeling sad anyway, right? Our bodies and minds and spirits, they're all interesting, right? They want us to be able to process emotion and be able to feel that feeling. So let's apply this to our situation here that we're trying to create more emotional connection. Okay. So when you bring this up to your spouse, and it's important that you bring it up, okay, it's very important. Another thing that came up in the concerns and comments was a fear of rejection, right? Not wanting to bring this up because you don't want your spouse to say, you don't want your wife to say, oh, forget it, don't be so needy, don't talk to me about this, whatever. That is scary. But part of building up your strength is bringing up these things, even though your wife might like it, even though it might upset her some, even though it might disrupt, the current situation in your marriage, but you're not happy with it right now anyway. So so it takes strength to do. It takes strength to bring this stuff up. But I'm going to give you some tools to do it so that you have a strategy, but it does take strength. It takes spiritual, mental, emotional strength to do it. So when you do come up to your wife and you're going to say, and your concern is this emotional connection, right? Here's what some people will do. They'll come to their wife and they'll say something like, I feel like we're not connecting, or we just don't talk like we used to, or they'll get more even. So these are vague. The problem with these super vague. We're not connecting. Well, what do you mean by that? We just don't talk like we used to. What the heck does that mean, right? Your wife doesn't know what you're even getting at here. But then sometimes guys will do it even worse, or girls, they'll do it even worse. They'll say, why don't you talk to me anymore? Right? Gets very derogatory, very accusing, or you just don't care about me anymore. Even worse, right? Because now there's nothing your wife can do. If you say you just don't care about me anymore, what's she supposed to say? Well, yes, I do. That's what you're hoping she'll say, but she'll probably say, what are you even talking about? Why is this? So Dale Carnegie in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, says the number one rule in dealing with people is don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Why? Because when you do, people get on the defensive. Okay? They are going to fight you. They're going to say, what do you mean I don't care about you? You don't care about me. Or what do you mean I don't talk to you anymore? I talked to you yesterday, right? That's how they're going to respond if you come at them like this. It's like the Aesop's fable about the sun and the wind, right? The sun and the wind, they have this contest. They want to see who can make this guy take off his coat. So the wind goes first. He comes and he blows and he blows and he blows. He's trying to blow this guy's coat off, but the guy just grabs on. He holds onto that coat and won't let go of it. And that's what it's like when we come to criticize someone. They just stand stronger in their position. They do not want to move. Okay. So whatever you do, do not come at them with any kind of criticism. So what do you do? What do you do instead? Okay. Because again, you come at them criticizing or vague. They're either going to give you a one-word answer, oh, fine, whatever. They're going to shut down, or they're going to respond with anger back. Okay, that's what you're looking at if you come at them this way. So instead, just present a situation like a camera would record it. Okay, present a situation that has no interpretation on it. Okay, so for example, a situation you could present would be something like, about a month ago, we stopped talking about how our days went. Okay, it's specific. Like we used to have this habit where we talked in the evenings and we haven't for a while. Okay, that's just true. Your spouse, your wife, she might say, oh, well, no, it's only a couple weeks or whatever. And so don't argue that point. Just say, yeah, well, it's been a little bit less lately. Something like that. So this is just one example of a specific situation, but think about it for your marriage. What's a very specific instance where you feel this emotional disconnection? Okay? Specific. And again, the key, no judgment attached to it. So then that's the S part of stay fair. So then T is the thought. Here's the story I'm telling myself. And it's a good way to introduce your thought in that way. So you can say, so honey, these past couple weeks, we haven't had that time to talk in the evenings. And the thought, when I'm telling myself about that is, it makes me think you don't even really want to talk to me anymore. Okay. So that's your thought. Okay? And then your feeling is going to be, it makes me feel sad. So, and you want to get to this sad part. Usually, so because you might say, it makes me think you don't want to talk to me anymore, and that makes me mad. Because it might kind of make you mad, but below that anger is usually hurt, is usually sadness. Okay, so you want to present that, because again, anger, it's going to stoke up that contention back, right? Your spouse is going to want to fight back or shut down. Okay, so don't come at them with anger. Come at them with what's below that, the hurt, the sadness, sharing that. Okay, that's a deeper emotional connection. Anger, again, typically a surface reaction. Hurt, typically the lower, more, deeper emotion. Again, we're going for more emotional connection. The way you do that is by sharing more of your emotion, more of your thoughts. That's the part you can control. Okay. So then the A is the action. So in this case, you're going to come to your wife and you're going to say, present to her a certain action that you would like. Make a specific request. Okay. So again, you're going to go through, you're going to say, hey, honey, I noticed this past month we haven't been talking as much. What I'm telling myself about, or we haven't, sorry, that was too vague. We haven't been talking at night like we used to. So then the thought is, it makes me feel like you don't want to talk to me, feel sad about that. So action, request, what I would like to do is just set aside a time to talk about our day each day. How about at 7:30 after dinner? Specific, right? Then the intention, why do you want to do this? Important. This is what a lot of people miss. They don't share why they want to do something, okay? So the reason I want to do this, I want to know you better and share more about me with you. That's the intention. That's why you want to do it. And then the result that you hope will happen, this is what you want to share with your wife, right? So the result, I hope this will help us be better friends and have more fun in our marriage again, okay? Or even just have more fun in our marriage, period, right? So this is such a good framework, guys. A great way to approach this concern you have about emotional connection. Go through this state fair model. Tell a specific situation, the thoughts you're having about it, how you feel about it, what you would like to do about it, why you would like to do that, and the result you hope will happen because you take that action. Again, a because, guys, is super powerful. I know that's what a lot of us forget when we're asking our spouse to do something. All right, so hopefully that is super helpful for you guys. I know it is for me in my marriage, has been for other guys as I've worked with them. So review this, review this episode. If you're listening to this, jump on YouTube so you can actually see the slides and see some of these words, pause it, write it down, do those things. Another concern I get is, what about like one-word answers? Okay, so you come to your wife and you say, how's your day? Usually, especially if you don't feel like there is an emotional connection, a very good one right now, you're going to get a one-word answer. And it's probably going to be, it was fine. Yeah, my day was fine. Okay. So then you might start telling yourself, again, situation, right? The situation is your wife says, my day was fine. Your thought about that is, oh, my wife doesn't care about me. She doesn't want to tell me anything. Our marriage is awful, whatever you start telling yourself. And then you're like off to the races to sad feelings, resentment, all of that. So do some work on that. But then also you want to come in here and think like, okay, maybe this question just isn't that good. How was your day? Maybe that question is bad. And it is. It's not that good. So asking a better question can get you a much better result. So a better question might be, what was something interesting that happened today? Okay, that's a better question. Here's another really great framework for how to get to a deeper level of communication with your wife. Okay, it's from a book called Storyworthy, and he talks about the idea of first, last, best, and worst. Okay, first, last, best, and worst. So this is a great way to just get to deep levels of stories with each other. What was your first car, your last car, your best car, your worst car, teacher, first, last, best, worst, sporting, time in sports, right? First, last, best, worst. So it can really give you fun things to talk about, a good way to talk about, different things. But just about your day, you can use this, right? What was the first thing you did today at work? Or if your wife's at home, what was the first thing you did after I left today? That's going to give you some really good insight actually into what their day is like once you leave. What was the last thing you did before I got home? Or the last thing you did at work before we saw each other? What was the best part of the day? What was the worst part of the day? I think you can see how much better answers you'll probably get if you ask these kind of questions. And again, you can follow the state fair model, right? So if they're not really volunteering much, if they're like, well, you're like, oh, what was the best part of your day today? Oh, the kids, they went to the bathroom. Okay. And you're like, oh, wow. And then sometimes you might not know where to go from there. But again, use that state fair model. So you say, well, what did you think about that they went to the bathroom? Oh, I thought it was great. How long had you been working on that? Oh, a long time. Yeah, I was really happy. And then how did you feel about that? Oh, I felt great. I felt happy. All right, what did you do? What was the action? What did you do after they went potty? Oh, I gave them the reward. We celebrated, watched a show. Okay, now look how much deeper you're in there. Okay, it's awesome. You're at a much better level of emotional connection just because your questions are so much better. Okay, now another question. So if you follow the state fair model all the way through, you'd say something like, well, why did you do that? Why did you, give them the reward? Usually that question is more like something I ask my clients, like something that if you're trying to like dig, or if you're doing self-reflection, to really like dig and say like, why was I really doing that? It's an important question to ask. But for just like conversation and you're trying to establish more emotional connection, usually that's not going to be a very useful question. And then the result, what happened? What happened as a result? Did he go potty again later in the day? How does it seem to be working? Anything I can do to help, right? So now you have done a much better job of connecting emotionally just by asking better questions. So now let's say you try all this and you're still getting one-word answers. Your wife still doesn't really want to, talk with you much. Again, think about what you can do, right? So you're asking requests, you're asking good questions, you're doing what you can do, which is great. Your wife still doesn't want to do anything, no problem. What you can do now is just ask if it would be okay if you shared some things about your day with your spouse, with your wife. Again, use that state fair model. Here's what happened today, something specific. Here's how I thought. Here's what I thought about that. Here's how I felt. Here's what I did. Here's why I did it. Here's the result I got. Okay. And then if you're open to advice or feedback, ask for their help. I'd really like your help on this. This happened today. I thought this, I felt this, I acted this way, but I wasn't too happy with that. Any ideas, any way I could look at this differently or could have acted differently. Okay. So that's great because now you're engaging your spouse at that deeper level. You're sharing something important to you. And you're asking for some feedback in return. If you're not really open to that though, like I know for me, sometimes I'm not. I just want to share these things with my wife and I don't really want her feedback at the time. Just ask if they'd be willing to listen. Hey, something happened today. I just would love to talk it out with you. Would you be willing to just kind of listen? And probably with some of these, with something here, they're going to say yes, right? Most likely. If you go through all this, these are great tools and great strategies, all right? So the other thing you really need to do if you are using this, right? You go in there, you say, hey, would it be okay if I shared with you? You talk with them. You need to thank them for listening at the end. Appreciate. Okay. As human beings, that's what we like. We like appreciation. Okay. So going back to the sun and the wind, the sun gets the guy's coat off. How? Just by shining out there and having him kind of take it off on his own. So the sun is like appreciation. So you appreciate the things you want. That's what helps people change better. Okay. Again, from Dale Carnegie, the second rule, give honest, sincere appreciation is what helps, interpersonal relations most. Okay. All right, guys. So to summarize from today, if you want to improve the emotional connection in your marriage, if you feel disconnected from your spouse, you want to look for ways to connect with them that they will like. Okay. This is really important. You don't want to just say, hey, here's how I want to connect. I don't really care if you like it or not. All right. So if you're going to suggest to have a little bit of time to talk in the evening, maybe you do it right before you watch a show. Or, you maybe like find some cards, or I have some questions, some free questions on my site you can get to just kind of ask each other some fun questions. You want to make it fun. You want to make it exciting, not like a drain. Like, hey, every night, let me tell you how I'm not happy with our marriage. Okay, nobody wants to hear that. But if you're just like, hey, I'd like to just talk about our day, get some feedback. I want to know more about you. I feel like I kind of, I'm missing, getting to know what your life is like. I want to get to know that better. Everybody wants to be understood. So if you come in and just say, hey, I just want to understand you better and what's going on in your life. Like most people are looking for that. Okay. So again, it's something that will be positive for both of you. Okay? So if for in my marriage, for example, my wife doesn't really like to have that talk time at night. Just her brain's kind of tired. She's not really ready for that in the evening. So we have to find other times that do work. But one thing that works for us right now is I can share with her at night, and she's not really in the mood to share with me, but she's able to listen like we talked about. And so that's a win for both of us. We can both enthusiastically agree to that. That's a quote from Willard Harley, who wrote His Needs, Her Needs, several other books. But I really like that term, enthusiastic agreement. So find something you can both enthusiastically agree to as far as time to just be with each other and understand each other and get to know each other better. So another takeaway point, share your feelings using that state fair model. Make sure that situation is very neutral and very specific. Okay, it's not, you're not talking to me enough. It's not, hey, we're not connecting. No, do not say that. You're going to go in, you're going to say, hey, this specific situation. Hey, at church, you didn't sit next to me. And what I thought about that was you didn't want to sit by me. You didn't like me, whatever. Okay, so specific. All right. And then you're going to make a suggestion of how you might connect more without criticizing, right? So you get to that action part of state fair. You're going to say, here's what I'd like to do. Here's why I would like to do it. Here's the result that I hope. And again, having it be something that's a win for both of you, right? The reason I want to do is get to know you better and that you can get to know me better. The result I'm hoping for is more fun in our marriage, more connection, So something that's going to be a win for both of you. Again, tying back to that. Come to think of it, that's the third principle in how to win friends and influence people, is create in the other person an eager want, right? And so you want to present something that they're going to want to do, okay? All right. So then, if they don't want to share, just ask if they'd be willing to listen. And then thank them for listening. Give honest, sincere appreciation. All right, guys. So take these points, use that state fair model, give a specific instance and how you'd like things to change, and have it be something that they'll be excited about. I'm excited to hear from you guys. I'm excited to hear your success stories with this. So send them over to me at mikefrasermd.com, and I'll talk to you guys soon.